Happy Halloween, everyone. If you're watching this, of course, live with me now, and you are listening to the DPA 4018C. And right now I've got my Mac Pro laptop here, and we're fortunate because the fans are absolutely silent right now, and I'm keeping things at a very low volume. Directly above me here in this wide frame is the 4018C, and this thing is tiny. Now, the 4018C actually consists of a modular pencil series microphones by DPA. I do own some DPA lavaliers, the 6060s, which I love. Also, I have some of the 4098, which is their little polarized condenser supercardioid plant mic, good for cars. You can plug it directly to like a 3 or 5 volt transmitter, like Electrosonics. And that is a little bit of fan noise from the MacBook Pro. So don't get confused by that specific sound. It will go back down and come back up. And welcome back for those of you who were with me last night when we did this exact same scenario in the with the Schoeps Colette. So if you weren't with us last night, welcome. And I'm doing these 2 intentional listening experience videos with the purpose of choosing 2 brand new supercardioid microphones for interiors for my kit. If you're new to the channel and it's your first time watching here, I am a production sound mixer. I work in scripted television currently, right now. And we do a lot of stage work and different types of interior work, sometimes practical environments where a supercardioid such as this is preferential. It does a good job with its off-axis rejection, but at the same time is not necessarily overly colored on the off-axis, so you can cover decently sized groups without being too wide, which would not be as ideal. So I wanted to mention that right now the fan is absolutely silent, and I'm doing my best to be extremely subtle talking to you now for the purposes of hearing what a microphone like this really would sound like in a cinematic environment. Because often dialogue can be very subtle. So as production sound mixers, recordists, I'm sure you can relate that we're often working in the lower registers as far as capturing volume, and this microphone here, the 4018C, which we'll talk a little bit about, has some benefits over the Colette system as far as the modularity is concerned in my kit specifically, because I do not have a transmitter in my arsenal right now, such as an A10 or I believe it's called a Zaxcom ZMT transmitter, which can do phantom power. And I'll talk a little bit about that later and why that is not a necessity for the modular system of the DPA microphone versus the Schoeps Colette. So a little bit of fan noise, but not too much, and welcome. So let's come over here to the comments and say hello. I'll be going on this stream today about 30 minutes, so just enough time to talk about this microphone, talk about this capsule, some of the different options in the DPA lineup that I'm currently looking at, and sharing with you, and most specifically to give you a sense of what does this microphone sound like. This 4018C here in the top of the frame is close to, if not probably a little smaller than my Sanken CSM1s, which is another super cardioid microphone I have in my kit that I use for interiors sometimes. And the profile of this microphone is such that it could be an ideal candidate not only for interior miking but also for car work. And what attracts me about this preamp is the size. Now what's interesting is that DPA describes the I believe it's called an MMP-C power module, which is their smallest modular preamp in this series that can take an XLR. I know there's one that has a microdot, which we'll take a look at, as being a softer sound. And I have this one, and then I also have the MMP. I'm gonna have to get the model right because I'm just now learning these here. And thank you, by the way, to Gotham Sound for providing this demo for me. Typically, I try to purchase my products from the manufacturers who supply demos, since I'm considering this. And this one here is the one of the MMPs that has has a built-in 50 hertz roll-off and also a high boost and a low cut built into the preamp, which is obviously modular in design and doesn't include the capsule. But this is also, they have a couple other options which we'll look at, because I don't want to botch the model numbers and options, because I'm just learning, probably like some of you guys here, about the different options that they're doing. So let me take a moment and say hello, and also mention once again that the fan noise on the laptop right now is virtually quiet, and the DPA 4018C, just a little bit of fan, but it's borderline silent in this room. In this room is my production sound workshop, and I've got 4 of these producer blankets, which you can buy at, I think, Vocal Booth to go. They have grommets, they have negative fill on one side, and then they also have a bounce on the other side here, which I'm attempting to show you and failing. There we go. See how it kind of, these are great because sometimes I have 3 of these on the sound trailer, like I mentioned last night, where I can deploy where the camera doesn't see sometimes in really less than ideal spaces. And DPs like them because I can present them to them and say, hey, we have blankets, we're trying to solve a problem. They have negative fill on one side, they are a bounce on another. Perhaps I can, when it's possible, maybe hang some of these up with your sign off, and usually they love that approach and they do really well. Okay, I think now, before we go to the DPA website and look at some of the specifications of this particular preamp and also this super cardioid capsule, we should say hello and happy Halloween and look at some of the comments here. Zlatko, it's great to see you. Thanks for saying hello. And Zlatko says, I'm already had the MKH50 and the 4018C. Oh, you're ahead of me. But after your video, I want this at the Colette 641. So you saw that. That's great. It's like, you know, me too. But then I you know, for those of you who were here last night, I was very, very excited about that Sheps microphone, and I actually got a chance to listen back myself, because remember, I'm not able to hear, you guys are hearing this first before me, and I was like, wow, this is an amazing, amazing microphone. So Zlatko, you're already ahead of the game because you've already got the 4018C, so you only have one microphone to buy, unless you're going to get more DPA modular accessories. And he's helping me out with that module, which I'll, since he put it up here, answering my question, since he didn't have to cheat and look at the website. This is the MMP-B preamp. right here, which has the high boost. It's like a switch, and also the low cut, and also a built-in 50 hertz low cut. And there's one that also has a transformerless design, but I don't think this one does. But if that's not true, just feel free to correct me here or put it in the comments below. But one of the things that differentiates the C capsule, the MMP-C capsule, or excuse me, power module. I'm still learning the whole modular components from the B, as Zlatko is mentioned here, the MMP-B, is that they describe they're sonically different. Where when we're listening to the Colette, and we were talking about the CMC6 and CMC1, Shep says that it's almost identical, if not even better, on the one, possibly even phasing out the CMC6. Because I think boom ops especially would prefer, I mean, to me, if you can have a smaller profile, it's why be bigger? I don't really see how it could be an advantage. So, but they described it as a softer sound, or and I listened to both of these preamps before I went live here with you guys, and I did notice a difference between the two, and they both sounded amazing. If anything, the MMP-B reminded me more of the CMC6 power capsule as far as what it did to the mids. But if you notice, this one sounds, to my ears, and this is just on headphones, slightly shaped, but not aggressively, but very smooth. And the profile is incredibly small. So this could be a plant microphone that could outperform like a pre-polarized condenser, such as like a 4899, a Cub. I'm trying to think other types of things that have a noise floor more equivalent to like a lav mic, which is around 23 if you're on a 60-60 all the way to 26. That can get a little noisy with very subtle, quiet dialogue, I find. So this point being is this could be an amazing contender for a vehicle. And earlier I spoke about the key difference between the modular capabilities of like the Colette versus this, is that I do not believe that this one requires phantom power for their smallest preamp module, which we'll take a look at. So once again, the fan is really quiet, and you're getting a very, very subtle example of what a 4018C sounds like. There's a little bit of just the room and then the voice. What do you guys think? I would love to see it in some of the comments here. You're getting to hear what I can't hear. I can raise my voice and I can project a little more and speak with more of a presentation style, or maybe if someone has a bit more emotion in their voice in a scene and is pushing levels a little harder, that's what this sounds like. How well is it doing in the room here? Now I know I have all of these acoustic blankets in here, but this is still a 8-foot ceiling. It's a very reflective room with concrete everywhere. So don't let these blankets fool you. This is not really an ideal space. If anything, the sound blankets just actually make it pass at best, acoustically speaking, in my humble opinion. So how's everyone doing? Anyone got kids going trick-or-treating or doing any parties for those who don't have children, going to any adult parties or anything like that? There we go. Oh, Levi. And then, okay, so, and just to mention, if you've just joined us here, the little bit of fan is the only noise in this room from the MacBook Pro. So do not confuse that with this microphone. Also, we should talk a little bit about the signal path. that I'm using specifically. Love my 4018C. I feel like the only one who doesn't have the 4018C. I'm curious, Levi, and also Zlatko, and I apologize if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. Do you have any of the other modular components in the DPA series, or just the 4018C? Do you have the MMP-B, or also the lower profile one I talked about that has the microdot connector? That would be ideal for like car worker plants. Lloyd, a great upper mid response. I noticed that too, Lloyd, and I couldn't help but really feel like it was cutting nicely in that area. It's to my ears and initial testing, it just seems as if the Colette and the CMC 641 was just smoother in the mids, like more there, but this one here is just a bit more, it has like an upper mid kind of punch, just a little bit of a tss there, and some of that mid is like, I like how DPA describes it as like softened out. Because when I put up, and if I can do it without like, properly and mute, and I should put up the other capsule, the MMP-B, and let you guys hear the difference. Let me know if you'd like that, because that would be something cool to do for a listening experience. Because I have it right here, and I should just mute it and put it on and all that kind of stuff. And I think I can even do it without clicking and popping you guys. All right. I figured, Lloyd, yeah. Leo says I currently don't have any other part, but I'm slowly working towards the full ecosystem. Yeah, I mean, the modularity of a DPA system like this, I think one of the advantages is obviously using the microphone's capabilities in different manners, matching different types of cardioids or super cardioids, omnis, maybe for spaced AB pairs. I'm not sure if they have omni in this series. They probably do. I know Shep's had 4 different types of omnis. Mixing and matching, the fact that you could use this in car work without having to drive it with phantom power and put in like a MM1 or something like this and typically use a transmitter is huge by using one of their preamps. So I do love the modularity of all the modular systems. And really I'm most curious of this one because I know I could use this in a car and I know I can use it in an interior. So I feel like it's 2 specific uses, and I love the size of this. I'd imagine Sonella makes a mount, OS6 mount for this, which would make it an incredibly low profile with its right angle connector and very, very small. I know they make one for the CMC6. Look. Zlatko says, Zlatko, you got it all, man. I have the 4017B. Yes, I've used this 4018C filling in for another mixer years ago inside of a beautiful sounding church, and it sounded gorgeous to my ears. I remember that. I remember it having a phenomenal reach for such a very small profile microphone and super cardioid pattern. The 4017B, for instance, has the rejection tube with the fins that like we see in the short shotgun microphone, sometimes called shotgun microphones, and obviously it's designed for more reach than a super cardioid microphone like this, and it was great. And I think the 4017 also has a lower self noise at 14 dBA, A weighted, and I believe the 4018C is at 16 A-weighted with this. I'm not sure if the noise floor stays consistent with the preamp that goes to the microdot. Maybe that's a question that someone can answer here in the comments, or we can look up. So I think we've been with this one for the first half of the stream here. Let's switch to the other preamp, and let me see how, I didn't plan on doing this, but let's see how quickly and efficiently I can do this. But before I do, let's listen to some of the off access of this microphone. I'm about 45 degrees here, coming towards the center, talking. And the question for you is, are you noticing any frequency or tonal differences as I come more on access versus slightly off access, which should be absolutely in the supercardioid pattern? Because one of the things that DPA talks about on this site that I read was that the off-access pattern of commonly found in supercardioid microphones is often colored or changes in frequency response, and obviously even the off-access is going to some, whether it be reflections from the voice or anything that's happening into the signal, even with a tighter pattern, can colorize the sound. And one of the things that they're very proud of this microphone is how the off-access and edges aren't really changing the EQ curve. So let me know if that's what you're hearing. Let's go ahead and change this mic out here, and go ahead and put your comments below and give you guys time to catch up. So to do this change, I'm going to mute the send to you guys, so I'm not popping your ears. I'm going to need the Envision 6 to mount the MMP-B capsule. Power module, not capsule. The details, you know what I meant. So I hope you guys are enjoying the berserker zombie behind me. I usually don't talk about him as much. He doesn't have a name yet, but it is Halloween, and I do keep him up year-round. So on this microphone, this power module, I'm going to make sure that the roll-off and the high boost is set off, because I want to really listen to the neutral sound of this microphone. And this is the Right Coat Envision 6, and the Envision, I have an Envision 3, which is a very convenient and economical mount that also you can interchange the little shock doodaddies. That's what they're called if you look it up on the website, shock doodaddies. All right, so I think while you guys put your comments and questions below, I'm going to mute this and change out this microphone real quick and try to be efficient about it. And excuse me while I do that. And we are back. Excuse me, excuse the handling noise there. So now you are listening to the MMP-B power module. And we're going to take a look on the website and make sure I'm getting all these manufacturer part names and product names correct. So excuse me for anything that I mistaken, but the real purpose of this video is to listen. And now you actually get to hear the difference between the sonic, what changes when switching out from the MMP-C to the MMP-B power module, which is the component that the capsule attaches to, that supplies the power for that particular microphone. So while you have a chance to listen to this, the fan is running just a touch, so don't confuse the fan, but we should go look at some of the options available. So we can kind of educate ourselves on what's available. So I'm going to wait to do a screen share on their site, because I notice when I do it, that causes the fan to kind of ramp up on the MacBook. So I want to kind of just maybe more just chill and talk to you guys and let you hear the microphone here. Okay. And by the way, I love the regulars here, because if you're new to the community, this is I've got a lot of people who contribute in these streams who are industry professionals working in sound professionally, and some of the comments are just, I love them, because like Lloyd Puckett, for instance, his ears, I mean, golden ears, and I, so let me, so I love to hear what you guys comments and stuff like that. I'm trying to go back to the comments, and here we go. Hey Dejan, how are you? Hi all. I use a 4018 capsule with the MMP-GS active cable preamp for car rig and plants. I love it with the A10X. Dejan, that is exactly the name of the preamp that I'm calling the power module. So the MMP/GS active preamp. The question for you is, Dejan, does that require a 48 volt fan of power, or can you use a 3 to 5 volt typically found that you would use for an Electret for that? Because that's one of the things with the Colette, with their very low profile preamp, is that you have to have a fan of power. And by the way, I have heard that A10, and it is an amazingly beautiful sounding system. Thank you for being here, by the way, and for answering that question for me. And we can look it up if for some reason we don't get an answer to that. Sinella for sure has you covered, and he's probably referencing something I was talking about earlier. Yeah, it's going to be a tough one, Lloyd. Guys, I can't buy the DPA and the oh, Sinella. What am I thinking? Like in my mind, I had Shep. See, my mind is somewhere else, Lloyd. Sinella does have me covered, so it sounds like what he's saying is they do make an Acoustic mount for this particular thing. The silly me. All right. They do. It's the same Sinella mount for the CMC1. Oh, interchangeable. Levi, maybe there is, maybe everyone does need both. Now, they do talk about the advanced RFI rejection, like we talked about last night with Shep's. But one of the things they keep putting in there into the verbiage is that not prone to humidity. And I think that's one of the things that I haven't personally experienced, that I have heard about the Colette, that it could be a thing. I've experienced it once, just once, with my Shep's CMIT 5U, where all of a sudden it was wonky. I couldn't tell what was going on. It wasn't like an interference, but we couldn't get the mic to sound right. We took it out of play, threw a CS3E in for the rest of the evening, came back, checked it earlier, and it was fine. And there was nothing wrong with the mic. And it was one of these like times of evening where it gets like, moisture builds up on stuff. But that was an extreme situation. Otherwise, I've never had a problem with moisture on my CMIT 5U before. And we're in Georgia. I'm in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, which is the South, humid, everything's humid. Levi is saying the same thing as they do. You guys are great, man. I guess I got like all my questions answered here about this stuff. Here's a good comment. Siba Sosa says, a bit off topic, how would you rate the 416 indoors? I don't use it indoors. I think the 416, I have one, is a great microphone for like an all-in-one. It was like kind of like a standard, I think, for many, many years before there was a lot more choices, and it's just a proven good, de facto, great sounding microphone. But when you start to listen to the 416 versus some of the other short shotgun microphones, you'll notice some colorization, some different sonic things about the 416 that make it not so maybe accurate as one would like. But to answer the question like fully, I typically don't use short shotgun microphones indoors, period. I prefer to use super cardioid microphones, such as the one we're listening to here, because short shotguns do not do as well with room environments as super cardioids do. Hopefully that's helpful, Siba, as far as kind of understanding maybe why I would not use a 416. Now that doesn't mean you can't, and I actually have before in very high ceiling environments, so that were interiors, but it was a very large room and we need to cover a large distance, because some of the advantages of a short shotgun microphone versus a super cardio microphone is reach, such as the 4017B, since we're talking about DPA. And by the way, the fan is almost silent, so you're really getting a sense of what this 4018 with the B MMP-B preamp sounds like on the microphone. Flat, no high boost, no low cut. And I'm curious what you guys are hearing as far as differences between the two. And here's a comment from Lloyd. This mic seems to pick up less room. However, what it does pick up seems colored. To my ear, it picks up more of the boomy part of the room sound. Now, Lloyd, when you say this microphone, are you saying that you started to hear this boomy sound? Because this room is not great, guys, which is actually good. That's what makes it a great place to test the microphone, because when you're working in production, you're not working in perfect sounding rooms. Did you start to hear that when I applied the MMP-B preamp? Was the 4018C with a C preamp less prone to this? Question. What do you guys think? Question mark. I agree with Lloyd. The 4018C is not exactly focused like the MKH50 is. Not good for car where is more reflections from all the windows. Interesting. And I think what Zlako is saying, it seems as if the strength of the MKH50 is room reflection. That could be a car, it could be a concrete room, it could be whatever. It excels in less than optimal environments. It may not be the most accurate sounding microphone, but it's a good sounding microphone, and it's a flexible microphone. It's a workhorse that you can depend on, and that's really important. But sometimes maybe you're looking more for, I like what Lloyd said yesterday. I mean, I'm not sure if it's, it applies to all situations, but he said MKH50 is for TV, and maybe the Sheps is for cinema. Like, yes and no, I mean, I love my 50. I've used my 50s more than any other microphone for my super cardio interiors. I love that microphone, but RF rejection, not going well. Me having to invest into shielding and to see if Sennheiser can fix my microphones and spend $300 to $500 per microphone to fix it, not satisfied with that, not feeling it. And I think partly why I'm feeling that way is because I like them so much, and they're a critical tool. Enough about that. You guys have the best comments ever. Okay, so am I nuts? This sounds less boomy. I don't know. Well, you're saying that this MMP-B that we switched to sounds less boomy than the 4018C, right? Roll click. When I listen to the record of my 4018C, I can say, yes, his voice was exactly like that. Interesting. To your voice, to what you're saying is it sounds more accurate to what we're hearing, that meaning, and that's one of the things that, like, I've heard more about DPA microphones from users who really support them is that it's the truth. Like, what you get is the true sound of the source. Great comment. Oh. Dejan, you have ruined my hopes and dreams. See, we've got no need to go to a website here. We can do that on our own with you guys here. It does require phantom power to drive that. And let me at least show you guys the preamp here. Let me look it up before I share a screen so I can actually get to the right thing here. All right. I'm going to look for capsules and preamps, and there's one in particular that we're talking about for the cars. Let me share it with you guys. Now the screen, this is when the fan starts to ramp up, but that's okay. We are talking about the MMP-ERES preamp, and excuse the fan noise from the MacBook Pro here. That is not the mic. Preamp with modular active XLR cable, which you could obviously terminate to whatever you would want with a soldering iron and a little bit of knowledge. But let's look at the specifications real quick, if I can find them, to this particular preamp. Options. This has a side option, which would be really good for putting in a visor. I really want us to be wrong about that it requires phantom power to work, because I mean, it makes sense. I'm just gonna go with that as the truth, and I'm disappointed about it, but I appreciate you letting me know, and we're gonna let that fan ramp down. Doesn't like screen sharing, the computer. I don't know what's so intense about that. Probably because I'm trying to push 4K down the pipeline here, which never works. Okay, thank you for the comment and the clarification, Dejan. By the way, the MMP-A is best sounding preamp, but no RF rejections, no wireless boom cable, only. I do have them all on the Oh, you have all of the collection. That's awesome. That's awesome. And you got me thinking, Dejan, because I've also, for like process trailer work, I'll use the InstaSnakes, which are hardline copies. Basically, it's not Dante. It's like a hardline, basically, that can carry 4 channels of audio. Absolutely, just go away with the wireless. I mean, that just is a whole mess of problem anyway. So if you can feed it directly to the mixer recorder or use like a MM1, go for that. And the profile, which is, I guess you could do with DPA or Sheps. I mean, you've got that low profile, so, you know, whatever you would want to do. Thank you for that comment, by the way. Zacko says, DPA 4018C sounds best at 30 centimeters from the talent, not more or less. Good to know. So you're fine. He's saying that the sweet spot is around 30 centimeters. That's good to know. You know, you got to be realistic with the reach, I think, of these super cardioids. You know, I'm always impressed when a boom op would, you know, if I had a real boom op in here, then we would be getting much better sound because, I mean, they can, for some reason, always get 12 more inches or 18 more inches out of it just through knowing really, you know, specifically what that sweet spot is. Thank you for the comment. Timestamp 141 first preamp, 146 second preamp. Thank you for that. That's great. Lloyd, put that in the comments. I think that's really, really useful info. Thank you for doing that. Every DPA mics need fan and powder. Good to know, Zacko. Why did I think that you could do, maybe it's you can do 12 volt or 48 volt out of these mics. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. No 3 or 5 volt. You can't use it like an Electret condenser microphone. You know, I don't know why I was thinking you could. Thank you for the clarification. Yeah, once again, it does need fan and power. I just want my dreams to come true because the problem with the magnetically charged Electret capsules, polarized, such as a 6060, a COS 11, I believe the 4098 and 99 super cardios use the same architecture where you can just simply use a transmitter and do 3 to 5 volt is the noise floor jumps, the 24 dBA. Then you're working at a whole other kind of noise floor. And that, my experience with that 4098 is that I don't have the 99, but the specs are the same. It's like the right angle one that looks like a little boom. You got to be, it doesn't pull like a 50 or something like that, or it doesn't have the noise floor of that low noise floor of a super cardioid microphone. So you really lose that. But the convenience is great. Don't get me wrong. You can just simply, you know, plug it in, put a transmitter on, and you're driving down the road, you know, and you're into the scene. But anytime I can put super cardioids in a car, I'm going to do it, even if it's, you know, in fact, boom ops on my set are probably working harder for car work than they are booming because we are always moving things around, being very, very specific about the rigging inside the vehicle because I just want to avoid using any of those Electret microphones, you know. But sometimes you have to, like for instance, self-drive. Then it's a safety issue. I can't have, you know, clamps and stuff like, you know, in the way when someone's trying to drive a vehicle. Then you got to kind of go, okay, let's use one of those alternatives. Here we go. Lloyd, how did you get up there with that? Oh, so would you guys prefer 4018 in the cars exposed to the 4097 if it would seem easier to rig the 4097 on a transmitter and not deal with the phantom? Yeah, I think you know my opinion, Lloyd. I mean, I just spoke about that, and great comment, by the way. I think I'm always going to prefer hypercardioid in the car. I mean, I don't even have to hear these 4018Cs or anything, you know, to know that I'm going to prefer that, simply because it's got a lower noise floor, it's got a better frequency response, like it's just a better performing type of microphone versus the design of like an Electret type microphone, which inherently has a higher noise floor and the frequency response is not as good. Roll Click says, due to the lower gain of these mics, do you think they could be a good choice for ambience? ORTF, sure. I mean, they have like surround arrays, all the different types of things that on their site. And one of the things that I appreciate about the DPA lineup, the Sheps lineup, is that these microphones are not only very high-end, astonishing. I mean, we're really talking about, do I want the Ferrari or the Lamborghini here? You know, I mean, at the end of the day. But you can also do ambience with these MS. You can do orchestral recordings. Like, they're just more applications where some production microphones, you know, just have no place in other environments because either the noise floor is too high or they're just only designed for that purpose of like ENG or dialogue capture. And once they go into the studio, it's like you can't have anything higher than a 14 dBA noise floor in a recording studio. Are you kidding? that microphone would be hissing, but in a production dialogue recording situation where you typically are dealing with environments with that, and inevitably there's some sort of, room tone that doesn't necessarily exist in a studio. You've got that threshold to be able to work with those microphones, which are inherently designed for distance capture, obviously. It's not that they can't make microphones with those kind of specs for production work. It's just that the design is opted to accomplish different things with production work than it is in a studio environment. It's actually, if you get an opportunity, go to the Neumann's website and read about what their characteristics of what they think a minimum standard is for a studio microphone. It's awesome. What's acceptable, what's completely unacceptable. And in fact, I'll leave you guys with this, because I said I was going to go 30 minutes. Here we are at 45. I appreciate you for hanging in here with me. I'm going to leave you with one thing. On the Neumann site, they have an excellent article, and I'll try to put in a link below, about sensitivity and signal-to-noise performance. And there's a myth and an easy thing to confuse, that if a microphone has a higher sensitivity, meaning that it basically requires a lower preamp input level in order to drive the same volume, that does not improve the signal-to-noise performance of the microphone. Only if you are dealing with a preamp that is noisy would that make any difference, because the microphone signal-to-noise ratio is proportionate to the sensitivity. And I admit it, that one got me. It wasn't until I was reading on the Neumann site and thinking, oh wow, because I was thinking I was going to be able to gain a better performance out of a lower sensitivity microphone from the signal to noise, from the noise level for low talkers, and I was absolutely incorrect. So guilty. But I think that's enough out of me, guys, on this one. And I'm looking forward to listening back to the 4018C, also the 4018 with the MMP-B power module or preamp, hearing the subtle differences, and put your comments below. Which one do you prefer? I'm going to keep you guys updated. I'm either going to buy the Sheps, 2 of the Sheps, or 2 of the DPAs. And you might be surprised. I've surprised you guys before on which way I go. Let me know which one you think I should choose in the comments below, or which one you think I'm going to choose. And maybe we can figure out some sort of like giveaway or something. I'm trying to get some of these manufacturers, maybe to start, giving us some stuff, and because we need more swag, you know what I'm saying? With that, my swag connection was NAB, and I used to go there. You could get every t-shirt. Now that there's no NAB, it's like, hey, where's the love? Let's get that, sound people need t-shirts. I'm starting to get holes in some of these things from, shirts that are worn out because there's no audio events anymore. So there is a mixer coming here in Atlanta in November. If you are a manufacturer who's coming in, bring clothing for us, please. We don't buy regular clothing. We're sound people. We wear sound clothing. So, and if you are a manufacturer watching this, DPA, send me some stuff. I'll wear it. I'll give it away. It's up to you. Anyway, thanks for hanging in there with my silliness. I really enjoyed hanging out with you guys and listening to these microphones. And thank you for your comments. Looks like we have a couple more here. Just gonna go through. I mean, it's only a few more here. One of the key things these high-end mics you're covering do that they really shines in my book is the off-access quality. And Nathan, I think I know exactly what you're talking about as far as how smooth the off-access is, as far as the lack of colorization and for covering groups. So if someone's on the edge of a microphone, it's not sounding, like for instance, if you're covering coverage and you got 4 feet between them and you just want to play the edge, on the actor that we're not looking at without having to fight the mixed boom phase fight. It's nice to have that. I agree with you. Nathan, thanks for the comment. Dejan, check beta digital Shep series. Dejan, you have everything. This guy, I'm going to be looking out for you, man, because, yes, I do want to check that out. And I wish my DPA accepted AES. Why does it not accept AES? Whew. Well, I guess they have to make products in the future, don't they? Okay, so I will, Dejan. Okay, in the future, you will get the CMD42 to use with your Kantar, and it will have 0 RF problems. But Nathan, how do I drive it? Is the question. Obviously, if I have to use wireless boom, I don't have to, but I'm going to use wireless boom. I mean, we're shooting 5 to 8 pages a day. I can't go cable. What drives AES42? I want to know. And Nathan thinks, get the MK series. We'll see, Nathan. We'll see what I do. I can even surprise myself sometimes. Dejan says I don't have them. Not yet, you don't. Not yet, you don't, Dejan. Okay, so I really am going to go now. Thank you, guys. Happy Halloween. Please be safe. Do something fun. Don't get attacked by any zombies back there. And I'll look forward to seeing everyone very soon for the next one.